I am somebody who can get overwhelmed pretty quickly when my house is out of order. It's just something I can really struggle with. So I have had to be very intentional about creating systems in my home that help with that. And if you're someone who can relate a little bit to what I'm saying, then keep watching because I have got some tips for you. Hey, my name is Christine. If you are new here, I am a mom of three. I am a homeschooling mom of three, and I also work from home. So there is a lot going on in our home all of the time. It's just a busy place. My kids are here all the time. They play very creatively. There's stuff everywhere a lot of the time, and I can find that incredibly overwhelming. I'm somebody who has to be intentional about things, and I have to be disciplined. Otherwise, I can fall into sort of just bad habits of not getting things done, and it just kind of like builds up and builds up until I just want to scream because my brain just cannot take all of the stimulation that is being put into it from my surroundings. So I've had to be really intentional over the years about creating some systems that really do genuinely help with reducing overwhelm in our home. I have tried so many different things. I've tried different cleaning plans. I've tried different chore charts and laundry routines and things like that. And I feel like I'm in a pretty good place at the moment with some of the systems that we're using in our home that have really just made things a lot more streamlined and have taken the burden off of me. And ultimately, I think my favorite sort of benefit from it is that it has reduced resentment that I can tend to feel towards my family. And over the years, I have learned that resentment I start to feel is actually my own fault because I let things get out of hand and I have expectations of my family, but I don't communicate them, or I don't follow through with my expectations of them, specifically my children. I'm not necessarily talking about my husband. He's actually really great at cleaning up and staying on top of things. Also, he's not a child for me to manage. But with my kids, like if I'm not making sure that the systems that I have in place, like I'm following through with them, then I can get resentful, and that's not their fault. It's my fault because I'm the parent and I'm the one who's supposed to be leading and guiding them. And so, yeah, that's just little lessons I've learned along the way. It's not fair for me to sit there and say, oh, my family's so terrible or my kids are so messy and blah, 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 blah. Like it might be true that my kids are messy, but that's like actually on me. My kids are young. They are little and they're learning. And if a room is overwhelming to me because of the state it's in, I can guarantee it's like twice as overwhelming to them. And so I've had to learn ways to reduce that. So I'm going to talk about some specific systems that we have in our home that I have found make a big difference. And then just some like general things that I've been doing that I found have been really helpful. So the number one thing that I've actually found to be really helpful this year that I implemented is a new laundry routine. My kids are currently 9, 7, and 5. And one of the big bugbears that I was having was keeping on top of laundry. My kids they play hard. You can go outside here in New Zealand pretty much year round. And so even in the winter when it's raining and muddy, they are outside playing. And consequently, there was a lot of laundry building up. Or they would put things in the laundry that was like not really dirty. Just like, you know what they're like. You know what they're like? They put things in there and they just like leave stuff lying around. And I was feeling so much resentment because I was like, you guys are making so much work for me. And so I can't even remember. I think I saw it in a homeschool group somewhere on Facebook. Someone said that she had her kids do their own laundry. And I'd heard people say that before, but I was just like, yeah, but I don't know how to like practically do that or like how to implement it. Where like, do they even have enough clothes to go that many days in between washing and like sorting clothes and all that kind of stuff. And so I wasn't sure how to actually implement the system, but I have now, and it's been working really well. And it has taken such a load off of my shoulders. And it's also made my kids a lot more aware of the amount of clothing that they're putting in to be washed, what really needs to be washed and what doesn't, because they're the ones having to deal with the consequences of that. So what I ended up doing is we just have it on like a loop schedule. I don't have a day designated to each member of the family. I just have it on a loop schedule. So each kid does their washing on a day, And then my husband and I just do our washing together. So I am technically only doing washing every 4 days. There are 5 members in our family, and my husband and I have our laundry combined. So even my littlest, who is 5 years old, she has a hamper in her bedroom where she puts her dirty clothing. And when it's her day, she brings her hamper down and she'll put it in the washing machine. I've showed the kids how to do the washing machine. Sometimes my youngest needs a little help with like pouring in the detergent and stuff, but for the most part, she can put her clothes in and then they know how to turn the washing on. And then I will put the washing in the dryer. It's been wintertime here and I've been drying our clothes in the dryer overnight. So I'll do that or hang it up because none of them are tall enough to reach the washing line yet. But then once it's clean, I put it in a basket and that basket goes to their room and they are responsible for folding it and putting it away. And just having, like, it was the folding it and putting away that was slowing me down. I think we can all relate to that, you know, like you can put things in the washing machine, we can put it in the dryer or hang it up or whatever, but it's the putting it away for whatever reason just takes so much more brain space. And so I would have them do that. And that has been going really well. And so we just do it on a loop schedule because, you know, sometimes things come up on days or whatever. And so, yeah, that is how we do it. And so every 4 days they do their washing and have to fold it and put it away and all of that kind of stuff. So that is something that has been a game changer in our home. It really has reduced the mental load of me having to always think of like, what needs to be put away. No one's like coming to me like, why isn't this washed? Because it's actually their responsibility now. So even if they are putting stuff in the wash that doesn't need to be washed, it is no longer my problem. They're the ones who have to put it away. So I'm not having to sort either because it's just one person's washing on that day. So that's reduced time as well. So that's just something to consider. Okay, the next thing that we've done in our home that has made a difference is to have a magic basket. And I have actually spoken about this in another video at a different time. And we don't always use it in like the pure form that I set it up as, but it is still something that I really like in our home. So our home has 2 stories, but even if it didn't have 2 stories, you could have this in like your living area or something. I just got a hamper that wasn't like ugly looking and it became the magic basket. And at the end of every day, go around and pick up any toys or whatever. Sometimes it's not toys, sometimes it's clothes or whatever that my kids have left lying around and put them in there. And then by the next day, if they're not removed, then they disappear. It's a magic basket. No, we haven't been using it specifically like that. Sometimes I do if things have gotten out of hand. But for the most part, what I do is once it's full, we go through it now. Once it's full, we empty it out and I'm like, okay, guys, you now get to decide what you're going to keep and what you no longer want. Because chances are, if it's been sitting in that magic basket until the basket's filled up and overflowing, they've forgotten about it and they actually no longer want it. And so they're happy to donate it. And so it's actually evolved into this really helpful way of decluttering toys that I wasn't expecting. So that's something that has worked really well for our family. And it's a really quick way for us to tidy up. So sometimes I'll be the one who's picking up the things, but a lot of the time at the end of the day, I'll just tell the kids, go pick up your stuff, go put it in the magic basket. And they'll just do a quick sweep around, pick up their toys and put them in there. Is it always perfect? No, but it has certainly reduced my mental load of being like, okay, there's that toy, it needs to go there. Instead, it's just like chuck it in the basket and then the kids will put it away. So again, it's not putting it all on me, and also it's not robbing them of the responsibility that they have to take care of their own things. So that's important to me. Like I'm not about being their maid. I love my family and I will serve them, but I also want my children to grow up not being entitled. So that's a system that's worked very well in our family. Something else that is kind of, this gets told a lot, but it is something I've been doing for years and years and years. And I could not imagine not doing this, and that is meal planning. I only meal plan our dinners because we have like the same thing for breakfast pretty much every day, or like a variation of it. But for our dinners, meal planning is absolutely vital because I'm not sitting there thinking, oh, what am I going to cook tonight? And then like you don't cook something great, or like it's just last minute and it's stressful. I personally don't like cooking. It is not my strength. It's not something I enjoy doing. I do it because I have to. And so meal planning makes it a lot more manageable for us, and also affordable because I can look at what's in season and plan my meals accordingly. I have been doing it once a week. In years past, I've done it monthly or bi-weekly. At the moment, I'm doing it weekly. And then I quickly do my groceries online and either pick them up or have them delivered. And that just really saves a whole lot of time. And oh my goodness, the brain space that we have to give up for knowing how to feed our families is a lot. It's a lot. So having meal plans really just makes things easier and more simple. That's something that really helps. Okay, so let's just chat about some things now that have made my life easier over this last year, because something I've really struggled this year. I've shared this a little bit in my homeschool updates, but I have had some health issues that have made this year really, really challenging, specifically mentally challenging. I really struggled with just coping with everyday life. And so having my home in a way, in a state that makes it manageable for me has been really crucial for our whole family. And so I have been on a mission to declutter a lot of spaces and get rid of a lot of things. And that has made life so much easier. The Minimal Mom on YouTube talks about, like, there's nothing wrong with you. It's just you actually have too much inventory. We were not meant to manage this much inventory. And I think that this is a very specific challenge to this generation. It certainly wasn't a thing that we dealt with when I was a kid, because we didn't have the money for this much stuff. Things are more readily available. Toys are cheaper than they ever have been before. And stuff is just junky, like stuff breaks a lot. And so we tend to get this buildup of stuff in our homes, or we have like a, oh, I need this just in case mindset. And even myself, I'm even like that. And it's not because I like to hoard. That's certainly not who I am. But I do have like a mindset of like, I spent money on this, or what if we need this just in case? I don't want to spend money on it again. And just recently, like, I went through my kitchen and got rid of stuff, donated stuff that we were given when we got married 10 years ago, and we have literally never used, not even once. So it has been super freeing to go through things and get rid of them, donate, chuck out things. And it has made life so much more manageable. And specifically as a homeschool mom, my days are mostly taken up with teaching my kids now, and then working and managing my home. There's not a lot of extra time for anything. And so I don't want to have to spend my days managing tons of inventory. It's just clogging up our home. And so minimizing the amount of stuff that we have in our home has been huge. It also makes cleaning it a lot easier. Cleaning my home is just so much easier when there's not a bunch of stuff to move out of the way before I can clean it. That is just something I'd really encourage you to do. You don't have to live like a minimalist. I am not a minimalist. I like home decor. I like my home to feel lived in and cozy, but I do feel like there's a balance to be had. And I think it's also really wise to think about things as seasons. Like, I don't necessarily have to have my home like this forever, but for right now in the season that we're in, this actually benefits our family greatly. And it really just does simplify our life. And therefore we're going to live this way for a while. So that's been really great. And I say that with the whole thing of like yesterday, I was like, we're throwing out all of the kids' toys because they're everywhere. So I'm definitely a work in progress. But this year, I feel like we have found some really great systems. That magic basket has been great. And the laundry system has been super helpful as well in just keeping the maintenance of our home and keeping things running smoothly. So food and clothing, two big things, you know, when you've got kids, especially like, I think it is quite a unique struggle that not everyone necessarily talks about in the homeschool community. Our kids are home a lot of the time, and therefore our homes get trashed because they're just playing all of the time. And I love the creativity and all of that kind of stuff, but there is a balance to be had. Like, we all live in the home, and therefore there needs to be some kind of harmony there. So I hope that these tips were helpful and perhaps something that you can implement in your home if it's an area you're struggling with. Feel free to share any great home management tips that you have down in the comments below, because I know that there are other moms like me out there who will appreciate reading them and learning from them. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.
What if the world had more of your smile? What if the wind could spread